Hi, welcome to my channel Automation X with Cycling. Today we'll be talking about data table activities and all. So first, let me just create a flowchart, data tables. We have different set of activities here in data tables. I'll be just searching with data table in the activities panel. You'll see a lot of activities that was related here. We'll try to just basically build a data table. First activity. Build data table is actually you're trying to create a data table here. You're trying to create rows and columns of data. And basically, data table is a combination of rows and columns. Whenever you want to store the data in form of rows and columns, you'll try to go with the data table. I'll just create like 3 columns here: name, gender, location, and I'll add rows of value like Kiran, male, HYDS location, like Shivam, male, NAS location, Sam, male, HYDS location, and Sudha, female, HYDS location, Satya, female, HYDS location. Okay, let's go with another data. John, male, Pune's location. Okay, so here I have a bunch of data with number of rows and columns. I have here like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of data and like 3 columns of data. And the index starts from 0. So if it is like 3 columns of data, the index is 0, 1, and 2. Okay. And after just creating, I'll make sure that I'll create using the control K DT1. My type of variable that was created will be reflected in the variable panel as data table. I'll use a message box to basically utilize a small function to print the number of rows and columns inside your particular data table. So I'll go with double quotes rows and plus you should go with like DT1 dot rows dot count dot to string. And I want to print it in a new line, maybe CRLF is the function, and I'll go click columns plus dt1 dot columns dot count dot to string. Okay, just click on OK. Try to run your file. Which will actually give me the number of rows and columns count. I have 6 rows and 3 columns of data. So let's say that I want to just print whole data table in a message box. So the message box cannot able to print that. We'll be using output data table, where it will try to convert your data table into a string variable. So input is 81 and output control K strtt. I'll be using another message box to print the data what we actually have here in a data table. I'm just passing strdt. Save your file, try to run the file. First message box will print you the number of rows and columns count, and second message box will actually print you the total data table here. Okay, 6 and 3, and the total data table things here. We'll now utilize 2 set of activities here. So one is to add a column other thing is to like delete a column, and I'll be searching for remove data column. When you want to remove a data column, you need to specify which data table you actually want to remove. I want to remove it from DT1, and I want to basically provide the column name. I want to delete a column name called gender. Parallelly, what I want to do, I want to also add a column here. I want to add a column, add a column, add data column. So in the properties, we need to provide and which data table you want to add, what is the type of the value you want to actually add. It's a string. What is the column name you want to go with? I want to go with a column name called country in data table DT1. Okay, and we have an options here. I'll go with one option here where I'm just trying to provide the default value as like India. Okay, but I'll just disable this activity and we'll try to run the file. So in the output data table after conversion, you'll able to see the name, the location, and the country. But now you'll be not able to see the column which we have deleted here, nothing but the gender. Okay, we can just enable and disable this particular activity. Now you'll be able to even see the particular column gender also. It will really depends like the scenario which you want to go with. You can see name, gender, location, and country. Okay, so just make sure that these particular values are kept aside, activities are kept aside, and I'll be using two set of other activities. Add row, add data row. So I'm just trying to actually add a row here. In which data table you want to add? I want to add it in DT1. In which array row? So I'm trying to provide here in the format of array row. So what is the syntax of the schema? We have like it is name. I'll be adding Vijay, male, double quotes, male, and I'll go with HYD location. Okay. And parallelly, I want to remove a data column. Remove data column. Sorry, it's remove data row. Already we have seen how to remove a data column. Now I want to remove it in DT1. You can just try to remove it based on a particular row index. I want to delete the first row, which is basically Kiran value. Let me just try to connect with your data table. Try to run your file. In the message box, you will see the Kiran value, row value as removed, and a new value of Vijay will be added in the data table during execution of your particular process. So it's compiling. We can see here like the Kiran value is deleted and the Vijay value was like added here. Okay, that is what we can do with like add data row or remove data. I'll just keep this activities aside and we'll just go with another set of activity here, which is a remove duplicate rows. Since here it is a very small data, which we are trying to utilize it for sample purpose, we can easily identify what are the duplicate rows here. So for this, I'll try to add some duplicate data. I'll add like Sam, male from HYD location. It's a duplicate data. And also Kiran, male from HYD location is also duplicate data. So we have here two rows of data, which is actually repeating twice. Nothing but a duplicate data, right? So how can it delete this particular set of duplicate rows? Where we need to just pass DT1 as an input, and in the output we need to provide DT1 as an output. Automatically, all the rows which are duplicated will be like removed. Let me execute and see like uh, before utilizing remove duplicate rows, what is the outcome? After utilizing remove duplicate rows, what is the outcome here? Okay, so before using remove duplicate rows, it was still having a duplicate data of Sam and Kiran. Let me just enable this activity of remove duplicate rows. Let's see what is the outcome will be having. Automatically, the number of rows which are duplicated will be removed here. Okay, if you can see here, the Kiran value and the Sam value, which is actually repeating, is deleted automatically. That is how we can actually utilize and remove duplicate rows. After which, I'll be using another set of activity called filter data table. I'll try to drag and drop the filter data table. I'll just go to data table here. I want to see how actually I want to initially make a filter here. So initially I want to make a filter here based on the Hyderabad location. If you can see here, like I had people from Hyderabad location, like 4 people are there. In that we have like 2 male and 2 female. So first filter I'll be applying is based on the location, and the second filter I'll be applying based on the gender too. So let's see how I can build that particular filter data table scenario. So configure filter, input I want to utilize DT1, output also I want to store it in the same DT1. Okay, what is the column you want to actually make a filter? It's based on the location. And here you have an operators. We have like less than, equal to, contains. So a lot of operations we can go with. So here I'll just go with equals to, and in the value I'll go with capital HYD. So we know that there are 4 people from the HYD location. So let's see whether we'll be getting that particular data or not. So we have seen that like these were the 4 people that were from the Hyderabad location. Now I want to filter in these, that I want to get only like female persons from the particular Hyderabad location. So I'll just simply click on the configure filter, click on plus symbol here. I want to make a filter based on the gender, and I want to make sure that it is equals to a male or female, whatever the thing you want to filter. I'll go with the filter of female, and I'll try to run the file. Okay, if you can see here, we have got a filter data, which is Sudha, female, and the Hyderabad location. Fine. So now I'll use other set of activity here, which is basically sort data table. So now I'll add another column here called as age, and I'll just provide data here of different ages, mix and match. So Kiran 32, 28, Sam 54, Sudha 12, Satya 34, John 66, 65. So if you can see here, it's date of like mix and match. Like let's say that based on my business requirements, I want to process the data which is actually a person who is of less age. So that is where I want to actually initially process the particular items. How can I do that? I'll use data table. Okay, I'll use data table. Here I will say just table you want to sort. After sorting, where you want to store in the same DT1. What is the column name you want to sort with? I want to sort with a column name called age. And here we have two options. Either it is ascending order or descending order. I'll go with an ascending order here initially. We'll see after ascending order what is the value we have for the descending to. So ascending order will go with an increasing order here. It starts from basically initially 12 and you can see that it has range to like 54. It started from 12, 22, 28, 32, 34 and 54. Right. Now I want to like process persons who are of more age. So I'll just go with the sorted editable. We'll go with an operation called descending. We want to go with the descending order here. Save the file. Try to run the file. If you can see here, like we have 54 at the starting and 12 at the last here. Okay, that is what happens with the sort editable. So let's search with another set of activities in the data table. We have seen something on added a column, add data row, build data table. Clear data table basically will try to remove or clear the cache or the memory for the particular variable. Filter data table we already seen. We'll try to see about for each row in the data table here. So how to iterate inside your particular data table, which we'll try to see it now. We'll search for active for each row in data table. So let's say that I want to loop inside a DT1. I'll use a message box to print the first column values. What is the first column value we have here? We have here the gender. Either you can provide get an item of the current row using the column name, or else you can also go with the index here. So let me just save the file, open your activity, provide the current row of 0 will actually give me the value for which the name it is in the DataTable. In the message box, we have an option, no need to actually click. So let me just use the timer here. For every 2 seconds, the bot will automatically close the message box for you. So let us loop here, see the values, which is actually populated for your data table of column 0. First value is Kiran, second value is Shivam, third value is Sam, fourth value is Sudha, fifth value is Satya, the last value is John. Right? We can also get the gender. To get the gender, what I need to do basically, I need to go to the current row of gender, provide it in double quotes, or toString. Right? So either you can access the particular column value of each row through a particular index or else through a particular column name. Okay. Let me just run the file here. You can see now I'll be getting genders like male, male, female, female, whatever the things it is that was there in respect to the particular gender, we'll be trying to get that. Okay. So that is what we can do with data table activities. I'll go with another set of activity and we'll just find up on this particular data table activities here. Here I'll try to go with lookup data table. So when we actually use a lookup data table here, I'll just open an Excel for the clear cut idea. So let's say that you have a master data, here. Okay, so this is your master data, and but in another Excel file, you have only in another Excel file, you have only your first name and the last name. Okay, let's consider that it's in there in another Excel. You want to get basically the country here of the particular person based on the first name. So what actually it does is lookup data table. It will search for the particular item based on the value provided, lookup value to the corresponding column here. So you're trying to search for the value called I1 in a particular column here in the first name, and you are actually trying to get the country here. Okay, so that is what it will actually try to do. So I'll try to provide an input here using input dialog, and I want to get the age of the particular person here. Here we have Sam. Let's try to get the age of the particular Sam here. It should be 54, right? I'll use input dialog, which will actually get an input from the user. I'll say, please enter name, get age. So what are the value I have entered here will be stored in input age. Okay. So once it was done, I'll use a lookup data table, lookup data table, and in the activities, we can go with the properties here. Where is the data table you actually look up? I'll try to look up in a data table called DT1. So what is a lookup value? I'm trying to provide an input age. Okay. So where you are actually trying to look up, the lookup column is basically a name, and the target column corresponding to that particular value is age. And finally, where you will get the outcome. Here we can get the cell value as well as the row index. Row index is at which position actually your value was located under. But here that is not required for me. I'll go with like only the cell value. I'll select age, str age is the value I'll be getting. I'll be using a message box to print the particular value here. So what I'll go here in the expression age of user, we have here name in the form of input age or string is double quotes is, we'll go with plus symbol again, we'll just pass the strh as an outcome of string. Okay. Okay. So let me just click on OK here. Let's see whether we'll get the sum of age as 54 or not. So I'll give an input as Sam. In the message box, it will say age of user Sam is 54. Yep. So that is what we are actually looking for. Let's see another value also. I'll try to get the age of Sudha. It is 12, right? So let me run the file again. Now in the input dialog, I'll provide a value of Sudha. I'll click on OK. So now we say like age of user Sudha is 12. Yep. So that is how we can just try to go with utilization of uh, most commonly utilized DataTable activities and all. How to build it, how to actually clear it, how to get the rows count, columns count, how to add a column, delete a column, add a row, delete a row, how to utilize uh, basically filter data table, sort data table, how to remove the duplicate rows, how to use the lookup data table. So these are the most commonly utilized activities. And also we have seen also how to iterate inside your data table, and we also seen how to utilize output data table where it will convert your data table into a string variable. So these are the most commonly utilized data table activities. Hope you have enjoyed this session and all. Yep. So happy automation. Thanks for watching my video.